You're not going to believe this. The DVLA has just confirmed something that sounds almost impossible. Seniors may actually be able to drive without a license. Yes, you heard me right. No license in your pocket, no worrying about renewals, and yet still legally allowed behind the wheel. But before you start celebrating, let me warn you, this isn't a free for all. The DVLA has put down 7 strict rules, and if you don't know them, you could get into serious trouble. Now, think about that for a moment. How many times have you stressed over renewing your license, filling out endless forms, or paying those fees, only to feel like you're being punished just for getting older? Just imagine, being told you might not need to carry a license anymore. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, it's not. The DVLA has spoken, and today I'm going to break down exactly what this new announcement means for you. But here's the kicker. It's not as simple as tossing your license in the bin. Oh no. The rules are specific, and in some cases, they might surprise you. Some are common sense, sure, but others? Let's just say they could catch even the most experienced driver off guard. And I guarantee you, by the end of this video, you're going to be either relieved or completely shocked. Now, let me ask you, wouldn't it be a relief to drive without constantly worrying about paperwork or renewals? To just focus on the road, the freedom, and the independence that driving gives you? That's what's at stake here. And that's why you need to know these 7 rules, because one little mistake could mean fines, penalties, or even being banned from driving altogether. So don't go anywhere. Stay with me, because in just a moment I'll walk you through each of those rules, one by one, in plain English. And trust me, you don't want to miss a single detail. Before we dive in, do me one quick favor. If you find this kind of update useful, hit that like button right now. It helps the video reach more seniors just like you who need to hear this news. Alright, so let's dive straight into it. We've just heard something that, honestly, I didn't think I'd ever be saying out loud. The DVLA has confirmed that in some cases, seniors may be allowed to drive without holding a valid driving license. I know, it sounds wild. For years we've been told, no license, no driving, simple as that. And now suddenly, the rules have shifted. But like I mentioned in the hook, it's not a blanket free pass. There are 7 very clear rules that go hand in hand with this announcement, and if you're not aware of them, you could put yourself in a position where you think you're driving legally, but the police or the DVLA would disagree. That's why it's so important to stay with me here, because I'm going to break this down step by step in plain, simple language, no jargon, no government speak, just the facts that you actually need. Now, before I even get into those 7 rules, let's pause for a second and think about why this news is such a big deal. For many older drivers, the license renewal process can feel overwhelming. It's not just the paperwork, though that's bad enough. It's the worry, the stress, the fear that one small mistake on a form could end up costing you your independence. Driving isn't just about getting from A to B. For so many seniors, it's about freedom. It's about being able to visit friends, go shopping when you want, see the grandkids without depending on buses or someone else's schedule. The thought of losing that freedom can feel like losing a part of your life. So when you hear the DVLA say, actually, in some cases, you don't need a license at all, of course it grabs your attention. But here's where reality comes in. It's not as though they've just waved a magic wand and said, drive however you like, no paperwork needed. No, the DVLA is very strict about the conditions. And these conditions, honestly, are there to make sure everyone on the road stays safe. Think of them less as hoops to jump through and more like guardrails that protect both you and the people around you. Once you understand them, it actually makes sense why they're in place. So, let's talk through the first one. The most important foundation here is health. The DVLA is making it crystal clear. If you're driving without a license under this scheme, your health has to meet certain standards. That means your eyesight has to be good enough to read a number plate from a proper distance, and you can't have certain medical conditions that would affect your ability to control a vehicle. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but I've been driving for 50 years, I know the roads like the back of my hand. And that's true, you've got experience on your side. But the DVLA is really focusing on whether your body and mind are still up for the task. Think of it like this. If you can still handle the car confidently and safely, you're fine. But if your health is slipping in a way that puts you at risk, they don't want you behind the wheel without checks. That's fair, isn't it? The second rule is tied to what kind of driving you're actually doing. The DVLA is not saying you can just go off on a road trip across the whole of Britain without a license. The allowance applies in very specific situations. For example, short, local trips where you're not traveling long distances or driving at high speeds. They want to make sure this isn't about taking unnecessary risks. It's about keeping the everyday essentials within reach for seniors. Picture it, nipping to the shop, visiting your doctor, heading to see family nearby. That's the kind of driving they're talking about. And I have to say, this is one of those points where I want to stress something to you personally. Please don't just assume your insurance is valid. Don't think, well, I've been paying it for years, so I'm covered no matter what. No, call them, double check, make sure you've got it in writing. Because if something were to happen, the last thing you want is to be told you're not covered because you didn't meet the new license-free rules. Trust me, I've heard too many stories of seniors caught out this way, and it's heartbreaking. All right, moving on. The fourth rule is about the type of vehicle you're driving. This doesn't apply to everything on wheels. We're not talking about jumping into a lorry or hopping on a motorcycle without a license. The DVLA is focusing on standard cars, the kind most seniors use day to day. That means your little runaround car, not something that requires extra training or special permissions. And honestly, that makes sense. Why complicate things with big, heavy vehicles when this is really about keeping life simple for everyday drivers? The fifth rule, and I think this is one that will resonate with a lot of you, is about keeping within the law at all times. Sounds obvious, right? But what they're saying is that if you're going to take advantage of this license-free allowance, you need to have a clean record. No recent drink driving convictions, no reckless behavior. Basically, they want to be sure that you're a responsible driver. So if you've been careful all your life, obeying the speed limits, being courteous on the road, this one won't be a problem at all. And finally, the seventh rule is about proof. Even though you may not be carrying a valid license, you still need to have some kind of evidence ready that shows you meet the conditions. That might mean a doctor's note confirming your health is fine, or documents showing your insurance is active. Basically, if you get stopped by the police, you need to be able to demonstrate that you're not just some random person driving illegally, you're someone who fits into this very specific allowance. Now, I want to turn this back to you for a second. How does this make you feel? Are you relieved, excited, maybe a little confused? Because I'll be honest, when I first read it, I was stunned. I thought, no license? That can't be real. But when you look closely at the conditions, it's clear that it's real, but it's also carefully controlled. And here's my advice. Don't just assume you know where you stand. Take the time to double-check your own situation. If you're due for renewal, if you've got health conditions, if you're worried about insurance, this is the time to get answers. Because driving is about more than just convenience. It's about dignity, independence, and freedom. And you deserve to hold on to that for as long as you safely can. And before we carry on, let me ask you a quick favor. If you're finding this breakdown helpful, hit that like button right now. It only takes a second, but it really helps this video reach more seniors who need to know this information. Think of it as your way of passing the message along, helping others stay informed and stay safe. Now, as we wrap this up, I want you to picture something. Imagine yourself behind the wheel, heading out to see a friend or picking up some groceries, without the stress of worrying if your license renewal paperwork got lost in the post. Imagine that freedom, that peace of mind. That's what the DVLA's new rules are really offering. Not a loophole, not a gimmick, but a chance to hold onto independence without unnecessary red tape. So stay safe, stay informed, and remember, you've earned the right to keep driving as long as you can do it responsibly. Don't let fear or confusion take that away from you.